Good morning. So, in light of the responses to my video on blind justice, I feel like we need a remedial course in what reasonable suspicion is. Terry v. Ohio is the seminal case for reasonable suspicion. There, Officer McFadden observed Terry and another man walk up to a window, look in, walk back to a street corner, talk about it, walk up to a shop window. It's a shop window. It's where you go shopping. Look in, walk back to the street corner and talk about it. From this fact pattern, Officer McFadden determined that there was reasonable suspicion that crime was afoot. Now, Officer McFadden was able to articulate a specific crime to the court, armed robbery, or a stick-up job, I think is what he called it. But the court, the United States Supreme Court, said that all he had to do was have a reasonable suspicion that crime was afoot, and he had to be able to articulate facts to support his reasonable suspicion that crime was afoot. Now, who would he have to articulate those facts to? Apparently, some people don't realize that, no, they don't have to explain it to the suspect. They would have to explain it in court. Why would you have to explain it in court? Because that is where the suppression hearing would be. Because that is where any 1983 lawsuit would be. It is the court who needs that explanation. Or maybe a magistrate who's going to be doing a probable cause, or a grand jury who's going to be finding probable cause. But it's not going to be to the suspect. There is zero need to explain a goddamn thing to the suspect, because it's not the suspect's job to determine whether or not the suspect has violated a crime or whether or not the officers have reasonable suspicion. That is not his job. His job, coming from an attorney, is to sit there and shut the fuck up, exercise his Fifth Amendment right until he could exercise his Sixth Amendment right to his fucking attorney. So reasonable suspicion is an insanely low bar. Think of reasonable suspicion this way, if it would help you. Is there something unusual going on? Is there something that the officer can point to the court and say, look at this unusual thing. It made me suspicious that crime was afoot. And if it's truly unusual, or if it meets a pattern of behavior that's typically associated with crime, then the court is going to find that there's reasonable suspicion. Now, it doesn't matter how many non-criminal reasons there are for a particular behavior, or even how common a particular behavior might in fact be among non-criminals. You have to remember that Terry's actions that gave Officer McFadden reasonable suspicion consisted of three things. Thing number one, walking to and from a shop window. Very common. Thing two, looking into said shop window. I mean, that they call it window shopping for a fucking reason, right? And step three, talking to a man on the corner about what was going on, or about what they were seeing in the window. These three things together are uncommon, and they gave Officer McFadden reasonable suspicion, and he could articulate those facts. That's all he needed to do, was articulate those facts to the court. And the court found there was a reasonable suspicion. So parking down a alley behind a church, sure, there could be plenty of non-criminal reasons, right? There could be. Or there could be criminal reasons. And the fact that it is uncommon to do that behavior for non-criminal reasons on a Friday night, well, that's reasonable suspicion in a nutshell, kids. And, other people are saying, the officer said they were arrested for trespass. They were going to do for this. They were going to do that. Doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter. Cops can lie to the suspect. I thought we had established this very clearly. Cops can and do lie. And cops don't need to know necessarily specifically what crime they're going to charge you for when they arrest you. They get time to figure that out. They arrest you because they know a crime was committed. They don't know specifically what crime. They're going to have to go and check their code books and talk to a senior detective. And that's fine. As to whether Nelson's going to be convicted or even fully prosecuted, I'm still very uncertain. The victim card does play well, and the district attorney might not have a huge vested interest in wasting court time on some pissant sovereign citizen. So anyway, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.